Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us. Right here we have Absela with us, and it's a very wonderful day that we have got this opportunity to come and discuss situations that are going on and what the youths are actually doing in the country and outside the country. So we have Absela here. She will be discussing more about. I am the host, Shernat Harifo, On Tigray, and I have a guest, Absela. Can you please introduce yourself, Absela, please?
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Cherna, for having me. I'm Marcella. I'm from the United States. I'm a high school student, and today we'll be talking about what the youth is doing for Tigray right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. And me, my name is Shernat Harifo. It's my first time being here, and the fact that I have been really advocating for my community across the world, talking to the Congress, writing letters, calling, and being part of the social media campaign on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as well. So I will be asking Absela some questions to share with us some to give us some insight into this matter and how we can go forward, what the youths are doing, what they can actually do, and how we have to support them to go forward. So, Absela, tell us about the current situation and what you guys are doing in the U.S.
So, as we all know, the current situation is that there is war going on in Tigray. Our family are in a big danger, in a really bad danger right now. The youth in the outside of Tigray is trying their best to get the world to hear. We're doing our best to bring awareness to the world, and we're doing our best to make sure that the world hears our voices by using Twitter, by using our social media platforms to bring awareness, going live as we are doing right now, for example. We have been emailing our representatives, calling our elected representatives, our district representatives, just bringing awareness as much as we can. We've been having GoFundMe meetings where we basically fundraise money, and that's the best we've been doing so far.
That's a very wonderful. That's phenomenal. And how have the youth dealt with this incoming news that they have been hearing? How their families have been being taken captive, fleeing to other countries, and being not heard from their loved ones. How does that make most of the youths that are part of this campaign? How are they feeling, and how are they coping with this?
We're very devastated. We're heartbroken. We're sad. But we've been trying to stay strong the best way we can, because if we just stay heartbroken and sad, and that's just a distraction for us from helping our people. So we've been doing our best to stay focused and help our people. We've been trying to have, like, for example, we have Tagalog support on Sundays, where we go on Zoom together and we have conversations on how we've been dealing with the situation. For example, some people listen to music, some people work out, some people do work to help the people to get over the situation. And so basically on Sundays we'll go on live on Zoom together, and we would just talk about it, come up with ideas to help our people. Just that's how we've been dealing with it in many ways. Like, we'll go, like I said earlier, we'll go live. And yeah, we've just been trying to be there for each other as much as possible, honestly. That's how we've been dealing with it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I know how hard this is, and so many families, about 50,000, almost going to 60,000, have been devastated by this ongoing conflict in Ethiopia that the fascist leader declared over his people. So, can you touch base how this war started and where it's really heading?
I personally, a lot of people think the war started on November 4th. I'm so sorry about that. But a lot of people believe that the war started on November 4th. But I disagree with that idea, because the war started way before that. 2 years ago, when Abiy Ahmed came in office, when he was calling our people bad names like Yek and Jiboch, which is really calling us daylight hyenas, which is very disrespectful to our people. And I just think, like, how could somebody with their right minds do that? Like, That's when it really started. And then he continued to call our people. He said that if we continue with our election, he will make mothers cry, and he will make like kill children. And it's just like so sad to have a prime minister that talks like that, who is actually, I personally don't believe he's a prime minister. I think he's a dictator. But yeah, I think that's where the war started, when he closed the road to Addis from Tigray. What else did he do? What has he done? He arrested our leaders. There's just a lot of things he did prior to actually like starting the war. Like the war, like when people think that it's just sending bombs and killing people, that's not how the war really started. You know, the war really started like in the beginning, like I said, when he came into office.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you're right about that, because before this war started, for the last 2 years, he has been really suppressing our people, even through medias and phone calls, internet, and he has been threatening that even before he shut down everything. But what does this tell you about, like, turning off the media, the phone calls, the internet connection? What does this tell you? What message does this spread across the globe?
I think he's trying to silence our people. He's trying to do it in a way where our people are silenced, and because he knows that he knows that if he opened the internet, if the telecommunications were working, if the electricity was open, and that if the people had access, like direct access to Sudan, then the people can easily escape to Sudan, first of all. Secondly, if the internet is open, everybody can see what's happening in Tigray, because people will be posting about it. I feel like a lot of people will bring awareness to it. So knowing that, he purposefully turned off the internet, and he purposefully turned off the telecommunications so that we can't communicate with the people in Tigray, because he knows that if we communicate with them, they'll give us information, and if they give us information, then all his secret, his whatever he's doing, like the horrific actions he's taking up on the people, will be out there. The world will be able to see it, and he know that he will be defeated very easily.
Can you describe these horrific events that has led to so many, actually has already caused so much traumatization in our people, in our community, even the ones in the camp? You can hear them, how they are speaking, how they are explaining their case, and how they are bringing this discussion to the table, and they are already saying that their people are being killed, and many of the medias will not verify this information, which some actually over the while the phone call and everything is being opened, this has already started, actually new information started fetching and leaking. So how do you describe these horrific events?
So based on what the people in Sudan have said, I mean, I think that's just the least that has happened. Like, for example, they've said that pregnant women have been cut open, like their stomach being cut open. They've said that there are over 900 pregnant women in Sudan right now, and that's just 50,000 people, right, in Sudan. So imagine how many pregnant women are in Tigray suffering right now. Think about all the bombs he's been sending to Tigray, all their strikes, all the battles our people have been fighting. What else? The children that are dying, the children that have witnessed the death of their parents, their siblings. What else is traumatized? Like how more traumatizing can it really get when people are saying they've seen dogs eating the people on the ground that have died? How worse can it get when people are saying that they had to leave the people in the hospital to die because they had to go save themselves? Like, it's so horrific to think about. People being hit on the head with a machete. It's just so horrific, like so inhumane.
And even on top of that, the propaganda is unbelievable. It's pathetic, the propaganda that is still going on, and they are still using this slogan, such as law enforcement operation that has been ongoing for the last 5 weeks, and they are still calling it law enforcement. And as you might be aware, many people are still convinced that this massacre and this mass murder of Tigrayan is still a law enforcement, without realizing that about 50,000 people have already fled the country, and the UN has made a statement that say 2.3 million people are in a dire condition. They need medication, they need food, shelter, and they need actually the basic necessities they need to survive. And the Ethiopian government has still downplayed this conflict and calling it law enforcement and denying the international community to come and be, bring the humanitarian assistance to the table. And how can you respond to this? And while you're still facing the criticism across Ethiopia, outside, even the Ethiopian in diaspora, are still convinced that this is, especially some elites who are still there trying to convince the world that this is a law enforcement order. So how do you really respond to this, and how do you try to break that down?
I would say it's not a law enforcement. If it's a law enforcement, he should be doing it on the government, not the people. But he's been taking actions on the people and not the government. There's a difference between a law enforcement and just honestly being a bad person or just a person without a heart. And all he has done is killing our people. That's all he's done, is killing our people. He's been killing innocent lives. He's been allowed the murder of innocent lives. That's all he's been doing. So it's not law and order. This is a genocide. This is a massacre happening on the Tigray people. His plan is literally to wipe out our people. His plan is not to do law and order. It's not law and order. There is a way to go about law and order. If he really wanted to arrest people, like the leaders, then he should have sent an arrest warrant to the people themselves, to the government themselves, rather than airstriking human beings at 1 a.m. in the morning. And then if he really wasn't doing law enforcement, then he wouldn't go about it on election day, on American election day. If he really wanted law enforcement, he would have done it earlier. But he did it on American election day purposefully, so that the world doesn't pay attention to what he's doing.
Yeah, I kind of get your points right there, because as I was in DC that election night, and I had the rumors that this war is going to start somehow, and it's very scary, as you can see. Our elders who are supposed to be at home, retiring and living their golden life in right and dignity, are actually suffering in a refugee camp, and it's very, very somehow very ridiculous. And how are they really even doing that when it comes to allowing people to even flee the country, and then at the same time claiming there's no war? Still, by the way, they are still downplaying this war. And they're still saying there's no war. There's no war taking place in Ethiopia, convincing the international media that this is over, the international government that this is over. There's nothing else happening. But behind the scenes, somehow, a huge war is going on in those areas and surrounding Mekelle and those cities that they overtook. So how are they really covering up these? And the international media hasn't done anything. The international community hasn't done anything until now. How would they be using that tactics still, while we have a country, a law, a treaty that still governs the whole world, including the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights? Still, that has been violated.
I believe if people are still believing Abiy Ahmed, then I would personally recommend stop believing him. He's a known liar. Abiy Ahmed is literally a known liar. He's been lying about everything he's been saying. He's been proposing false propagandas. He said, "Oh, we're going to make Ethiopia better," or whatever. That's a false information. He hasn't made Ethiopia better. If anything, he's made it worse by causing war. And he's not just causing war in Ethiopia by declaring war on Tigray, but he's causing war on every part of the African Horn. And so everything he says is a lie. We all know everything he says is a lie. Stop believing him, especially those people who believe him. Like he's killed people. He has committed genocide in every region of Ethiopia, in most regions of Ethiopia, such as the Oromia, such as the Amhara region, and now Tigray region, and many other regions he's committed genocide in. And so how can we believe what he says? How can we even believe he's a human being when he's literally allowing the killing of innocent lives? Because personally, I have not heard of or seen a leader or a government leader being killed. Where are his family? His family are in the United States. They're in a safe place. our families, the poor families who have nothing, are back home being killed by this pathetic liar. He is a known liar. He contradicts his own arguments in every conference interview he has. So how can we really believe what he says when he doesn't even believe himself? When he doesn't even really support his own claims, when he doesn't even really say, okay, well, this happened, and like he has never really proposed a real honest he has never really been honest with us. He's been lying to us after lies after lies after lies. We can't believe anything he says. Nothing. He said, what did he say? He said there's no woman in Sudan. But what have we been seeing all over the news, all over New York Times, the Washington Post, everywhere? Is literally the first thing you see in the refugee camps are women and children. And young boys, like under the age of 15.
It came back to the points. As a humanitarian, look at the statistic that the United Nations is giving, because they are in charge of the refugees and they don't have the motivation to lie over anything, the UN. Why would they lie? Why would they lie? For who? For what purpose? So the UN has already put this statistics aside and say that 41% are children, women. Leaving them in this vulnerable and dire condition in a Sudan, where a country, the people, the citizens are even fleeing the country to a neighboring country, such as Kenya and other countries. Leaving our people in such a condition and still promising prosperity for the country, but also as well, trying to destabilize the entire Horn. Have you heard what happened in Sudan? He is still causing more trouble across the Horn of Africa. A person who 2 years ago stood in a Norwegian nomination, and he made this peaceful speech of saying the Medina spirit that is going to give freedom, liberty to everyone involved in this, and still under the table has been now the cause of the same war. He has become the starter of the war, as he has been claiming to bring peace, prosperity, and democracy back to Ethiopia. And now he has even become a threat to democracy, a threat to the right of life of every individual in Ethiopia. How does Ethiopian, how do they really get over these lies that this man has overwhelmed them through the suppressed media such as FANA, EBC, and all these medias that are very biased and based on the person's interest and the government's interest? They're still serving it.
So, yeah, most of them are being controlled by the government himself.
Yes, exactly. They are 100% controlled. So believing them is equals to believing the man who is actually suppressing the people.
And how can we even believe what they say? How can we believe what Abiy Ahmed himself said? How can we believe what, under the Sudan situation, how can we believe anything that they're saying if he's not allowing journalists into Tigray? He does not allow journalists into Tigray. So how can we believe anything that comes out?
Say anything, you will literally end up in jail. Is that a democracy?
Yeah.
Is that a hope for democracy? Is that a hope for a new beginning down era Ethiopia? Is that the kind of speech he gave 1 year and a half ago? This is pathetic. It's insane.
And then on the top of that, he signed a paper saying that he was going to allow aid into Tigray. Where are the aid now? Nowhere to be found.
The UN has already confirmed. So now the UN has already confirmed that they have no access. They shot at them when the UN people came to rescue them to the camps. They shot at the UN people, leaving them.
Abiy Ahmed is not allowing them into Tigray. He's making sure he's doing exactly what the other kings in the past have done. He's making sure he commits genocide and massacre on our people, on Tigray people, in silence, without the world knowing, without the world being involved. He's making sure he has all power by cutting off the internet, by cutting off everything, by cutting off every basic human needs.
Yeah.
Doing it on purpose. And I need the world to understand that. I need the world to understand what he's doing. He's not doing it out of accident or because he doesn't really know how to do this. If he doesn't know how to lead, then why is he a prime minister? then if he's going to be a prime minister, if he's going to win a Nobel Peace Prize, then he should know how to keep peace in his country. That's the first thing he should know how to do, is keep peace in his country.
Yes. So he hasn't do that. He's actually doing the opposite of everything that is supposed to be done in a normal world. That is, peace and orders are followed. He's actually destabilizing the peace of the ones who are actually seeking for peace. And Tigray people have not asked for much. They haven't asked for much. They just ask the responsibility to govern and administer their own region.
And in addition to what you just said, Chernet, our people voted, and we're allowed to vote. The Constitution allows our people to vote. It allows Tagaru to vote 100%. We're allowed, even during state of emergency, every region has the right to vote, to do their parliamentary voting. They just exercised their voting rights. That's all the people did. And what does he do? What does the prime minister do? The dictator now? He says, oh, no, you guys can't vote. If you guys vote, I'm going to have war on you. I'm going to make your moms cry. I'm going to make your children die.
Calling it a criminal voting, calling it a criminal charge.
It's not a criminal voting. He calls it a criminal voting. Yes, we know that. But we also have to, it must be known that our people did not vote out of the law. They were respecting the law by voting.
Voting
every 5 years.
A crime. Voting is never a crime. It's a fundamental right to fight injustice. It's a fundamental right that is given you as a citizen to exercise your freedom to fight injustice through your vote. How does that become a crime in Ethiopia? And it's a time of voting, which is May. Is it May or in June? And people, September. Exactly. So those moments are the time to vote to elect their leaders. But calling this a crime and start calling some operation that is very dangerous and destructive, calling it a law enforcement, which is supposed to be, say, the crime that now, which is the voting system. And enforcing it. Since he felt that he doesn't have any support from Tigray, he has to suppress particular community. But I think even that being said.
Yeah. And then on the top of what you just said, it's not law enforcement if you're killing innocent lives. One, if it's not law enforcement if you're bombing churches, schools, if you're bombing hospitals, that's not law enforcement. If he was if he was bombing military bases and things of that sort, then maybe it is a law enforcement. But he hasn't done none of that. All he's done is bomb innocent lives, literally normal places such as church, school, hospitals. What did the hospital do to him? What could a church do to him?
Even university, Maqala University, where it's a diverse school where people from all over the country come to study. Bombing that school is insane. This is a plan and a purpose. This is done purposefully.
It's done purposefully to make sure that our ethnic group, our Tigrayans in Tigray are wiped out, that the whole ethnic group is wiped out. For example, one of his representatives who are on a broadcast basically talking about what's going on in Tigray, and I personally don't remember his name, but he was talking about how the war is no big deal. If it's not a big deal, why has it been going on for almost 50 days now? Why has it lasted?
Why are they not allowing medias? Why are they not opening the internet? Why not opening on the phone call? Is Maichao and Maqala only part of Tigray? Is that the only areas that are part of Tigray? How many cities does Tigray have? If the war is over, if it's not a big deal, why are they opening it up? Why are they locking it up?
If it's not a big deal, right? If it's not a big deal, then why haven't I called my family?
Exactly.
Why can't I call my family? Why isn't the whole internet open? Why isn't internet communication, the road to Sudan, the road to Addis? Why is there food shortage? Why is there water shortage? Why is there unemployment going on right now?
Why does the UN makes like a 2.3 million estimate that they are in a dire condition in Tigray region? Why? If this is what he thinks is over.
Why are people still fleeing to Sudan?
The kind of lies they are convincing the international community is unbelievable. I mean, actually, even a child does not make up these kind of lies. These kind of lies are dangerous. Dangerous to the lives of every human being. This is very dangerous. Taking it serious that way. How do our people have to survive over this? How are we going to forget this for the rest of our lives?
We can't, and that's what our Tagalog need to understand is that our people need to understand
about Ethiopia as a one. What Ethiopia as a one are you talking about? When our people are struggling in a refugee camp, when our people are suffering across the country, when ethnic profiling is all over the country, in the airports, our people, if you see an ID and your place of birth says Tigray, you are in trouble. You are more likely to be detained. You are more likely to be searched without a warrant. You are more likely to be jailed for no reason. How are Ethiopians talking about unity? What kind of unity are we talking about right here?
How can there even be a one Ethiopia when there is over 80 ethnic groups in Ethiopia, when there's over 70 different languages, when there are over 4 different religions? How could we be one? Everybody has their own mentality. Everybody has their own thinking. You can't really force people to believe in a one mentality. It's impossible. It's like the most impossible ideology out there. So it's really heartbreaking to hear that our prime minister, that everybody wasn't happy to have Abiy Ahmed at the beginning. Everybody was happy.
I definitely was. I can tell you that.
Yeah, we were expecting for the peace that was already in Ethiopia.
Yeah,
there was already peace in Ethiopia, and we were hoping he will continue that peace.
Yeah,
but rather than doing that, he caused more trouble. He caused war, as big as a war. He was committing genocide on protesters ahead of the war, obviously. But then after that, what does he do? He causes war. How does one decide, okay, today I'm going to wake up and declare war on one of my own regions? What type of mentality do you have to think like that? Aren't you thinking, why can't he think about the children that are going to die? Why doesn't he think about the moms that have to cry, the children that have to cry, the dads, the people that are going to be forced by their own morals? They're going to be forced to go out there and fight to protect their families, to protect their state.
Imagine.
But he wakes up one day and decides, oh, today I'm going to wipe out a whole ethnic group. What type of prime minister thinks like that?
It's pathetic. It's insane. What just is happening in Ethiopia is unbelievable. And they're expecting us to be united, with everyone declaring death over us, saying, let's bring that criminals to justice. Who are the criminals? Do criminals come with bombing schools, churches, houses, the community centers, religious sites? Is that how law enforcement operation works for Abiy? It's so unbelievable the way they are convincing the international media through their lies. I can see sometimes they don't even look like a region, a governing country people. They look like a prefect of a school or something. Their discussion is unbelievable. A dangerous message to the world. A dangerous message to Ethiopian people. Raising more ethnic tension. Right now, this war has escaped. It's still going on in Tigray and keeps on moving to other regions, such as Beshangul, some other centers, to the Oromia people. This is really ridiculous what's going on.
And let's not even forget about the massacre that happened in Maikadra, where over 700 people died, in Tembin, where over 1,000 people died. In Woro, I don't remember the exact number, but a lot of people died there. Hundreds of people died there.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that he is making sure he's doing an ethnic cleansing on our people. And this is just, it's insane. It's so inhumane. Like, I don't know how else to describe it other than inhumane. It's not something a person should be worried about. Worried about cleansing, doing a whole cleansing on people, on innocent lives who just want to live, who work hard. Literally, these people go out, work hard, come home, and still barely have any food to eat. Literally.
Yeah.
Over 2 million of the people in Tigray if they have 1 meal a day, they're lucky. They're lucky if they have 1 meal a day.
I mean, yeah.
And yet he decides to declare war on these people, and yet he continues the war for over 50 days now.
So look at this, Absala. Can you even touch base on these? Our elders, look at them in the refugee camp. Shelter is unbearable. They are sleeping outside on a mat in a refugee camp. Our elders who are supposed to be living in right dignity and be protected from all this.
Yes,
struggling in these camps.
For example, one of my friends who came here through Sudan was talking about this. And she was talking about how, yeah, Sudan is really hot during the day and you can be outside warm and everything. But during the nights, think about the nights, it's really, really cold out there. Yes. How can how can the elderly sleep out there? How can the babies that are being born? We have to put in consideration that there are over 900 women that are pregnant right now. There are many, many children out there. How are they going? The youth, the younger people, I can say, okay, they can live through it. First, because they're trying to survive. But how can we expect the younger ones, the babies, to survive through this? How can we expect the elderly to survive through this horrific moments?
It's unbelievable. Again, it's unbelievable what's going on. So, we have covered so much in this topic. The youth are now really doing some amazing job on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and keep going on, as you may be aware. They turned off my Facebook. So what can we really do to make sure that they protect all these things? What can we really do to protect our people again from all this harm and to stop this war that is already going on?
The best way we can protect and bring awareness to what's going on is by using the hashtags. Please use the hashtags such as hashtag Stop War on Tigray, hashtag Stop War on Tigray, and then the second hashtag is Stop Abiy, hashtag Stop Abiy. Keep calling your representatives, keep emailing them, please. Make sure, just talk to your friends about it. Say, if you have friends that aren't aware of what's happening, talk to them. Say, hey, this is happening back home in my home place. Can you help me? There are many GoFundMe's out there. You can go, for example, the TDA one, you can go there and donate. You can push other people to donate. Our people need our help now. They've never asked us for help in the past. Yes, they've asked us for minor help, but they haven't asked us for this type of help where they're going through war, they're dying. Our people are dying. We have to understand that our people are dying right now. If it wasn't for them 30 years ago, we wouldn't be alive right now. If 30 years ago they had given up on us, they wouldn't be alive right now. So that's what the youth is doing. Because we know that 30 years ago, if they hadn't died for us, we wouldn't be alive right now. We're doing everything in our power to make sure that our people are doing good, to make sure that our people are surviving, to make sure that our people get the humanitarian aid they need. We're doing everything in our power to make sure our people are doing good, to make sure we bring awareness. We're doing our best. We're making sure that the news outlets know. We're making sure that everybody knows about what's happening in Tigray. Everybody needs to be aware of what's happening in Tigray because it's so inhumane. It's so inhumane. It's heartbreaking. It's our families that are going through it. It's every Tigray out there is our family. And we know that this war is not going to end anytime soon. This war is not going to end in Tigray. This war is going to be going all over the Horn of Africa. It might even escalate to the northern and southern parts. We don't know for how long it's going to go. So we have to keep donating as much as we can. We have to keep bringing awareness using the hashtags, keep calling our representatives. Please, we have to do our best. If you haven't been speaking up, start speaking up. It's not too late. It is not too late to speak up. Speak up. Our people need us. Our people are being hit on the head with machetes. Our pregnant women are being cut open. Our little brothers, little sisters are witnessing the death of their parents. A lot of the people that are fleeing to Sudan have already, in the past, had already fled to Sudan. My parents witnessed Derg, and now I'm witnessing Abiy Ahmed prosperity party. I don't think it's even legal to create a new party. It's crazy. It's insane to see what's happening. Please just continue helping our people. Don't stop the fight. I notice a lot of us are starting to go down. A lot of us are starting to not post as much, starting to not use the hashtags as much. Don't stop fighting. The fight just started, and it's not going to end. It's not going to end anytime soon. So we have to fight until we make sure that our people are safe.
Yeah, that's absolutely what we are looking forward to do, and we encourage anybody that is watching this live, please, like, just do your part. I mean, there's so much you can do in the social media, that you can contact your representative, you can tag someone in a tweet, you can tag someone in your post, and just raise more awareness for our people, because this is a very important moment, and this is the only moment that our people need it. You know, think about the 2.3 million who are not even able to leave the country, and they're even struggling now to find safety wherever they are. Like, we can, there's something we can all do to make sure we raise more awareness, more more, to just bring the world to the attention of what is going on in Ethiopia and what actually the Ethiopian government is doing to our people. So much we can do. So much we can do. So hesitating saying, oh, I tried my best and I can do more, that is absolutely not true. You can do more than, don't be tired, because those who are going through this war-torn situation right now are not even tired. They are struggling. They're crying out for help. There's so much we can do right now to save the right and defend the right of all people. There's so much we can do. And through advocacy, through phone calls, through emails, through tweeting, all these things that you can tweet, just say stop war on Tigray and tag someone, because this has been trending. And we have been able, I and Absallah have been able to get attention of so many people on Instagram, just by talking to them and, bringing attention, to the situation that is going on in Tigray. What else? You all can do something. Don't ever hesitate and say we can't do anything. You can definitely do something. There's something you can do, and you can contribute to this. As Absallah said, through so much you can do, as she explains. And let's come and
you can even hold if you cannot meet up with your people in your state, or if you live somewhere far where there aren't a lot of Tagaru or a lot of people that are against the war right now, just do a virtual protest. Everybody would join from every part of the world. If you do a virtual protest, you can just make a Zoom account, get a Zoom meeting for a specific time, a specific date, let it be known. If you share it with one Tigray, I'm telling you, if you share it with one Tigray, that one Tigray will share another Tigray, and just share, and then that'll just get everywhere. It will be everywhere.
And then, everywhere. And it's gonna, at least people will know what is Tigray. As you know, somebody was asking the other day when you were on live with Leslie, and she was asking about what is Tigray. So many people don't know what is going on.
Yeah,
so it's our job to make sure that the world understands who Tigray is, who they are. Some are actually, as the elite, the Ethiopian elite who are trying to criminalize our people, are actually calling us TPLF's terrorist supporters, and that kind of false allegations and false narratives they are giving to the international community. So how can, Absallah, how can we explain to people that we are a peaceful people and we're just striving for a better Tigray and for our community?
I think that the best way to do it is through action, because it's 90% action, 10% talking. So knowing the type of people we are, we're not very aggressive. We're not going to go out there and say, just because somebody sends us a bad comment, we're not going to fight them back. What we're going to do is we're either ignore it. That's the best thing you can do, is ignore it. take a screenshot, keep the screenshot for yourself, because as we all know, the people that like to send us death threats, that like to make a fake allegations, false allegations against us, we know that in the future they're going to deny that they made those mistakes. So it's not even a mistake at this point, because they're doing it on purpose. So keep those screenshots, don't respond to them, ignore them, keep doing what you're doing, don't spread hate. Please don't spread hate. Just keep speaking up for your people, lend your voices for your people. That's the way you can fight them. That's the best thing you can do. You're on mute.
Some people are still like on the word this hate. I mean, you know, our people, our family never taught us what hate really is. They have always taught us love and focused on love more. So the love that our family has taught us is more important than the hate actually we faced for the last 27 years. So I think, you know, we are more about love. We are more about caring for others. And we have been able to keep up with this for 27 years. I remember in Kenya, and one of the things is like, the people told me is like, if you are Tigray, you are more of a typical Weyane and nobody likes you. So this is how the situation used to be. But our leaders have always strived for a better Ethiopia and for a better Tigray and for a better Ethiopia as in general.
100%, yeah.
And then criminalizing us for even the good things that we did. Look at the beautiful trains we have in Addis Ababa. Look at these beautiful railroads. Look at these beautiful buses that just came up because of the. And Ethiopia is considered one of the fastest growing economy in the last 1 decade. I mean, in the last 10 years. So and they're still criminalizing us for even just speaking for our people, even as we say, you know, as you can see, exposing juntas and that kind of stuff has been spreading all over the media. So how can we really like try to ignore that and focus on our main points? How can we do that?
Just report them. All I can say is report them, because that's not our character. Don't get off your character. It's not who we are. We're not going to be out here wasting. We don't have time to waste, people. What we need to do right now is focus on our people. We have people dying. They don't have people dying. They have they have all the time to waste. We don't have all the time to waste.
Yes, we don't.
We have to focus on our people. Just report it. If they come at you, or if they're coming at somebody you know, or if somebody texts you saying, "Can you please report this page?" Go ahead, report that page. Report every post that they've posted, because they're spreading false information about all of us. Okay. Just report it. That's all we can do. We've taken down many pages by doing that, and we're going to continue to do that, because they're hateful. They're literally sending out death threats to our people. And just because they send out, and I just want this to be clear, just because they send out death threats to us doesn't mean they're going to actually do it. We already know they're not going to do it. No. And if anything, you can even record it to higher authorities. Yeah. That's the if you feel threatened to that extent, you can report it to higher authorities. Yeah. But our people are back home dying for us, dying that we make sure we have a place to call home when we go back there. Yeah. It's all we cannot stop the fight because we receive a few death threats. Those death threats that we receive here are our people are dying back home. Yeah. Those death threats are nothing compared to the people that are dying. So if you feel so threatened, get a higher authority involved. Call whoever you need to call and get them involved. But we cannot stop the fight because we've received a few death threats. That's the last thing we need to do is stop fighting.
We should be more focused on our people than we do on the trolls that are, roaming our medias and storming our live videos and all that kind of stuff. I think we should be focused more on our people and not even trying to stop, avoid argument when we're trying to talk about these matters, because those people are just out there to distract you from your own purpose, from the purpose that you have. That is their main agenda, and that's their main point. You know what I'm saying? That's their main point. So we have to avoid them. We have to avoid them in any ways that we can. In any ways that we can. We have to ignore them or compromise their statement. So we have to come to a conclusion. But just do you have anything to say about everything that is going on and what we can really do to make sure that not only our voice, but actually we bring it to action? We convince people that this is what is actually happening and this is what we can do. So just share about what you think we can do about this.
I think the best thing we can do is, like you mentioned before when we were talking, in private, obviously. We should do a nationwide protest at the Capitol in DC, or if you live in Europe, wherever the capital place for you go. Well, Europe is a whole continent, but wherever the capital place is in your specific country, or if you, whatever you live at, just go to the capital, like the main capital hall, get everybody from everywhere involved, and get them to come together and do a protest there. That will make a huge impact. If we can go to the UAE embassy and protest there, that will also make an impact. There's just so many things we can do. Just keep donating and save money. The best thing you can do right now for our people for the future is save money. Save money right now, because once the war is over, we have to go back and we have to rebuild. We have to help our people mentally and physically. We have to make sure that everything is back to normal. We have to make sure that Tigray is
right. Actually, right there, you made a point. Let me stop you before you continue. Like, it's amazing. The 50,000 people who are traumatized right now, dealing with them, and some of them actually seeing their sisters, their brothers, their husband being killed in front of them. This is devastating for them. Think about those psychological effect this is going to have on the people. Think about this, the kind of trauma these people will be dealing with when they go back to Ethiopia, when they go back to Tigray. Think about all the situations and how, and the government has no sets in place and still claiming that they're trying to enforce laws, lying again and again and again.
And then in addition, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm just going to add to what you said. In addition to that, our women are being raped. They're purposefully killing off they basically get the women and the men and the children, right? They basically kill off the men and the children that are boys, and then they rape the women. And they make sure that they transfer STDs towards them, meaning sexual transmitted diseases. They transmit those to the women, and then the women are left to live with HIV or whatever type of disease they passed on to them. So that, you know what that means? That means they can't really have children. One soldier is supposed to rape over 20 women. It's crazy. One soldier who has ACDs is supposed to rape over 20 women, so that those 20 women can't really have healthy children in the future. Because then if they have children, that child is going to have that disease, and so on and so forth.
Wow, this is very sad. It's very scary and very sad that this is happening to our people. But this is a moment that we will never forget in our life. This is going to be in history. This day, 2020, will always be in history, and we will always remember this day. History will remember this day. This thing will be wrote down in the next 20, 30 years, even maybe 40 years. And when our children see this, they will never forgive those people. I'm telling you. This is actually creating more hatred deep against us by using some false propaganda that the fascist leaders started it.
And it's not just hate. Yeah. Personally, what I would say for everybody else is, please don't have hate in your heart. Please don't have hate. Forgive, but don't forget is what I'll say. Forgive them for what they've done, but don't forget, because that's been the biggest problem with our people, is that we forgive and we forget. Don't forgive and forget. Forgive, because that's what God told us to do. If you're not Christian, then I can't really speak for everybody else, but personally I would say forgive them, because you're a human being. Everybody goes through a lot. Forgive them. Never forget. Please never forget. Go ahead.
The other thing is also what you just mentioned about God. Do these people really know God? What is the main? I think what is the main message that God gives us all the time? It's about creating peace. The church used to be a place of worship, a place of refuge, a place to seek life. But actually, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church is actually turning to be a political center.
Yeah, and the churches are not supposed to be involved in politics.
Something, and he said that, the Constitution certifies that. The Article 1, it begins with that. There must be a separation between church and state. That's what the Ethiopian Constitution itself says. I thought the Ethiopian government is actually founded on Christianity. But actually, after 1994, the Constitution specifies that there must be a separation between a state and churches. But the churches actually become a hiding place for politics. This is pathetic. I don't know what kind of time we are in, but it's a scary time, a very dangerous time, and something has to be done about it. And the Tigray people have to have their own cathedral, have to have their own patriarch, have to have their own priests, because under Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo, it's getting more political than becoming a spiritual center.
Yeah, and it's really sad to see, especially since the government is bombing our churches, and it's devastating. It's literally devastating. But it's okay. Something I know about our Tigrayans is that we're really strong. We'll get through this. Once we get through this, I know that we're not going to cry. We're done with crying. Right now, what we need to do is focus on our people, make sure to save as many Tagaro as we can, because we cannot allow our people to get wiped out.
Yes.
So what we can do is please stay positive. Stay as positive as you can. Bring awareness, like I said earlier many times. Just don't stop the fight. Don't stop the fight. And once the fight is done, the fight doesn't stop until we know that our people are mentally back to normal, until we know that our country, yes, Tigray is going to be a country, until our country is back to normal, until our country is rebuilt.
Yes, we will definitely rebuild. We will definitely have our own independence, because we are tired of this mess that the government is doing to our people. Despite the 30 years ago that we went through, still taking us through another phase of struggle, another phase of starvation of our people. The same tactics that the Derg used back then, taking us through the same system that oppressed our people, killed thousands through famine, killed thousands through bombings in the cities and across the Tigray region. During the Derg time, the Derg regime.
Yeah, and this is the third time.
The same history of the same guy.
This is the third time that our people have been bombed. During the Haile Selassie time, during the Haile Mariam time, and now during Abiy's time. This is the third time that our people have been bombed.
Yes.
We can't allow the bombing of our people.
Yes.
How many times? How many more times? How many more times till our people are safe? If anything, they're going to keep bombing us and make sure that we're wiped out. Our population has been declining every time we get bombed. So we can't allow that. We have to make sure that that cycle ends now. We have to make sure to end the cycle of bombing our people.
Yes, it is pathetic. So we are almost done right now. So what is your last message, Absela? What is your last message to our people, to those refugees struggling in the refugee camps, and even to those who are not even able to leave the country because they are held by the Ethiopian military and they cannot access humanitarian service? Maybe they will emerge after this, but what is your message to them?
My message to I'm going to start off with the people in Tigray. Then my message to the people in Tigray is, can I say it in Tigrinya? Yeah. So my message to the people of Tigray is أجوكم علنا الكمينا إحنا نبأسل كبلينا بنخلو عقم نبأسل لنا إنا بنخلو عقم على سدينا إنا زوج زي عواقب تراي كردي نسخاتكم ولا بسونتكم تتوأسكم وتسخاتكم ولا توبتكم وإحنا خاني وزخلنا awareness بممزع ديو عالم بمفلات ديو بمفلات نبأس لنا إنا نحنا ونوزن نقالس لنا إنا نقالس لكم لنا إنا نسخاتكم تراي نوعلكم تقالس نسخاتكم إحنا خاني نخلهم نقالس لكم إنا. I'm sorry if my Tigrinya is not that good. Like Maaz always says, أجونا أنا قارس بأسنا قالسنا يقارسن قالسنا نحنا حي زقابير استهابنا قالسنا يقارس أنا هنا ببعلنا خوينا خنعبينا. It's okay. زحال فلقزي خمسيو زي بتاريخ يرنا خب نزارو لقزي خمسيو. It's okay. علنا لكم من بعلنا. And then to the people of to the people in Sudan, it's okay. نساتكم وين إنه علىهم تخانقوا إنه علىهم تحققوا لأنه علىهم كونوا كحبا زي لأنه علىهم clothes ومكروا. And then the people outside of that, outside of Tigray and Sudan and the Arab countries, I would say, please, speak up. Speak up. We need more youth to start speaking up. I know there are so many Tagaro out here. It's not just the few that have been speaking up. There are so many more. And you guys need to understand, our people are dying. They're literally dying every day. Speak up. Get your voices heard. Make sure that the world hears our voices. If my voice doesn't get heard, and if another Tigrawite or Tigrawite speaks up and his voice get heard, that's all of our voices being heard right there.
Yes.
It's not just my voice being heard or somebody else's voice being heard. It's all of our voices that's going to be heard. So speak up.
I remember this statement. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
This statement by Meles Zenawi, he said,
yeah.
He means this by saying that even if we struggle today, there will be a new dawn era tomorrow. We will have a moment of enjoying our coffee together every morning, having food on the same plate instead of lining up in a refugee camp, coming together, talking in Tigray, enjoying the beautiful culture and the values that we have as the people. Taking all that right away from us might seem really, really hard right now. But I think, as you said, we will have a new day tomorrow.
Yeah, and then
tomorrow.
Yeah, and we'll get through it. We'll get through it together. But if we're going to get through it, we all have to come together as a whole. If it's just a few youth working together, it's not really going to bring that much difference. But if all of us can get together, if every Tigray youth can get together and just we can come up with plans together. Everybody has their own mind, so we all have different ideas. So if we all come together and bring our ideas together, we can really make a huge impact. We can do double the work we've already done. We can do 10 times the work we've already done. And one last thing I would like to leave everybody with is push the hashtags. Always push the hashtags. The hashtag Stop War on Tigray, hashtag Stop Abiy. If you need resources for reference and things of that sort, you can go follow at TagaruPN. You can follow at Peace Tigray, Peace in Tigray. I'm sorry, I messed up. At Peace in Tigray. Make sure to call 3 elected officials, 2 state senators in your state, and 1 elected official for your district, asking for a public statement and support to end war on Tigray. And then another thing that I want to challenge everybody to do is educate yourself. Every week, learn 3 new facts about Tigray.
Yes.
Learn 3 new facts about Tigray. That's what I challenge myself and many others to do. And then another thing you can do is, learn Tigray. Learn the language. If you learn the language, then you're good. Then you're going to understand what's going on. You can understand what your parents are saying. You can even communicate with many more Tagaro.
Yes.
So learn your language, educate yourself, call the representatives I just said, and then don't forget to use the hashtags.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Absela, for joining me. You have been amazing. You have been able to share so many things right here, and I will be more than happy to have you again. Thank you so much, Absela. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad that I came here. Thank you so much for everybody that was on here watching us.